Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dizzo Man Productions.
That goes my next question was why compare leadership to what moms or mothers do? I think you just answered that question.
Well, and there's another motivation also, because I think deep inside of me, and I don't think it transpires that well in the book, and maybe, like, I guess like most writers, once you've cut the umbilical cord and you've sent it out to the publisher, you start thinking, oh, I wish I'd said this, or I wish I had developed this theme more. And one of the things in my book that I keep talking about, and it's not in the book, is the fact that for me, it's, that lack of confidence that a lot of women have when they go to the workplace. And the fact also that a lot of women, when you look at their resume, there's this gap of 5 years or 10 years, which they took time off to raise their kids, and they don't claim it. They kind of hide this, like it's something you should not be advocating, because people think you're probably staying home and painting your nails. And let me tell you, I think raising kids really prepares you to be a leader. And if you can raise, children successfully, if you can take care of, newborns, and then address the temper tantrums of a toddler, and then address the mood swings of a teenager, and you've survived all this, you can be a good leader, and you have that in you. And I think in that way, I think women are uniquely prepared to be great leaders. I'm not saying that, well, two things. I'm not saying that women are the only one raising the kids, okay? However, I think people our generation, the most influential person raising us was probably our mothers. And also, I think as a mom, you can dig into that playbook, and that helps you being a better leader. And I'm not saying women are a better leader than men, but they have that nurturing approach that is really instinctive for women, and they apply that to their kids. So, hey, let's take some of that and apply it to my team members. And that approach, building great relationship, understanding, developing empathy, communicating well, setting expectations properly, you do that with your kids.
Right.
I don't know about you, Scott, but I know when I was a teenager, if my mom said, hey, Valerie, don't come home too late, I'd be going out and I'd come back home at, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And the next day my mom would say, well, Valerie, why did you get home so late? And I said, well, it was only midnight. When in my mom's mind, don't come home too late was 10 p.m. But she failed to set the expectation properly. So when you're a mom, you make that mistake once. And then the second time you say, hey, Scott, be home by 10. Right? And it's very clear. There's no gray area. So we can learn from this as a leader, take that and think about taking the time to set expectations very clearly with people so you get the outcome you want to get. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't like giving feedback. You know why you don't like giving feedback? Because you never set the expectation very clearly in the first place. And you left some room for interpretation. And the outcome did not look like what you wanted. But now what do? You have zero credibility. You can't go back and say, you didn't do what I told you to do. Well, wait a minute. You just told me not to come home too late. What is too late for you? What is too late for me? So I think all these little things are things that we all can relate to. We all have a mother, whether she was perfect or imperfect. And we can take those learnings either that we've acquired either as a child, being on the receiving end of mothering, or as a parent trying to teach and educate our children. So it is something, I think, when I talk about it, when I do keynote speeches or workshop and I mention it, I see all the heads nodding like this, because everybody are like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I've lived those situations.